Hey there, Capricorns. So Jupiter is in Sagittarius for you guys. So currently, if we were to create a little sort of chart for Capricorn, we're going to go ahead and put you guys in the first house. And Capricorn's in the first, and then of course we'd have Aquarius in the second, and then Pisces in the third, so on all the way around. So Sagittarius would be in the 12th house in the derivative house system. So, you know, you guys have had, last year was a little bit of a challenging year. Now, Jupiter as an archetype, you know, it has to do with our beliefs. And you guys, if we back up for a moment and consider that we have had Pluto slowly grinding through Capricorn, you know, which is affected here in the United States. We're a Cancer country. It's been opposite our sun. There have been big changes and shifts. Those of us who were born during Libra, Pluto and Libra, of that generation, you know, we kind of came of age, and our older generations as well. We've got, my grandparents were Pluto in Cancer people who were sort of greatest generation, and they've since passed. But it's like the mantle's being handed over, and having Pluto in Capricorn, our cornerstones that we hold as a society to be kind of the structure that helps us feel safe. You know, there's laws, there are, you go outside and you drive your car, and there's rules and consequences to driving a vehicle. You have responsibilities, and then there's the other side, the benefits, or sort of like the rewards, as well as the consequences for how the choices that you've made, right? So there's that. There's deeper themes as well. But in general, you guys have been experiencing as well Uranus, of course, moving through Aries, which has been squaring you. Depending on if you're a male or female Capricorn, you know, you may have experienced back in like the 2000, I'd say around 2010-ish, basically 2008 through 2011. Earlier Capricorns may have experienced a divorce or some sort of shifts in their career, big changes in one of the four main cardinal areas, you know, the self, relationship, home, the house, the work, you know, area. So if those things haven't shifted and changed for you, then it's possible, as Jupiter was moving through the 11th and into the 12th, you may have experienced a loss of your direction. You know, you might have felt like, I like to think of Jupiter when it's in the 12th, it's like you're out in the ocean, and Jupiter does have this quality of being your, it's the direction in a sense, it's your truth, it's your beacon, like your GPS, and it connects you to something bigger than who you are, right? When you're in the ocean, you have the satellites up there, and they triangulate and they tell you where to go. And unless you are someone who has studied 19th century maritime navigation, do you own a sextant, and you know, if you know how to like triangulate with the horizon and know which, I don't know, latitude, longitude, isn't it easy to know how far you've gotten? It's easy to know as far as north and south when you're on the ocean because you know east and west, but it's hard to know like how far you've gotten from east to west or something like that. I forget. Anyway, it's challenging. Definitely don't go on an ocean sailing vessel with me as the captain. We will die. So Capricorns, you guys usually are in control, though. You guys are usually the ones that know which way to go. You know, typically it's like, okay, we have a problem we need to solve. Let's delegate. Let's get this fixed. Let's solve it. I have a plan. I'm going to do it this way. Things are going to go this way, and yay. And, you know, what's next, right? And having Saturn, well, first of all, we've got Pluto in the first. That tells us that your fundamental sense of identity, your sense of self, and the things that you believe about your life, you know, are up for reinterpretation, deaths and rebirths. So we have big themes like divorces, and we have experiences where we ourselves are the one probably who's doing some of the big changing too. But it's also, I wonder, it's like fate falls on us. You know, we are married to someone who becomes ill, or something with our partner, something happens to them, and we are handed the responsibility of having to kind of rewrite our life or just sort of deal with fate. And I think in the end, Capricorn in general is a sign that it's very important. We need this as Uranus moves through Taurus. We need you guys helping sort of rewrite a new rules. All these kids who are born who have outer planets in Capricorn, like Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn, right? They don't have any Capricorn. They don't have structure. They don't understand what it means to work hard on something and struggle for a while until you start receiving accolades for your hard work, and even then doubting yourself the whole time, right? So I think with Pluto in the first, then we had Saturn come into the first and Mars, right? Saturn and Mars moved into your natural first, and this is like some type of an event that may have been, as Saturn was in your 12th house, you could have been, in Sagittarius, you might have been experiencing this sense of, your direction, your path. You may have blindly been going on, following your plan, all right? And feeling like, I'm not sensing a change in the winds, like something was about to change and shift, but maybe you weren't sure what it was, and you couldn't quite get your finger on it. You might have felt out of touch even with the times. You may have felt with work like a sense of needing to shift and change, and pulling younger people in as well. That's really common, I've noticed, for a lot of people, even people who are like not, who are young themselves. It's almost this looking to people who have these new, fresh ideas and bringing them into our space, because it feels like Uranus was hitting you guys too. So you were being kind of freed up and shaken loose and brought out like a car that's kept in the garage, and you're brought out to drive around town. Beautiful classic. Okay, hope this makes sense. I know so many Capricorns that in my head, and in Hollywood actually we have a lot of actors that are Capricorn. And the theme at the heart, at the end of the day, is what does it mean? First of all, what does it mean to be a man? Who are in our culture, who are sort of like who are the John Waynes? Who are the strong, stalwart people in your industry? The people you look up to, like the people who are really good at what they do, who are mentors, that kind of thing, the wizards. And if you're a Capricorn who is like my age, in your 40s, you may have been experiencing sort of needing to figure out, like, what is it that my purpose is? What am I doing with my life? And I think with Saturn moving into the first, it's just additional weights and burdens and responsibilities and things that made you feel tired, and maybe kind of made you feel a little bit like, do I really want to do this? Like, you may have also had a desire to slow down a little bit. Maybe if before you were kind of wild with Uranus squaring you, maybe you had some things in your life that were a bit more hectic or crazy, or you were a bit more free-spirited. You may have experienced in this last year or so a quieting down in your life. I have a friend, and he had mentioned like everything in his life really changed dramatically this last year or so, just completely, it all kind of got quiet. And we were joking about like libido and that kind of thing. And he's like, he has libido, but it's just kind of like it's not a priority. It's not a focus. His energy's not focused there. So it can show up for you guys that way as well, because the first house is Mars. It is your passion and your fire. And it's like we're taking the fire in the fire pit. It was a big raging fire, let's say. I don't know. Kind of feels like it's not a very good, I'm not using a very good analogy, but it just feels like stones are really warm. We can slow cook with this now, but it's not like a hot burning, raging fire. It's got this slow, it's like stick with it, this patience. There's a patience there. That's what it is. And at the same time, it's like a patience that you have to earn. You have to earn it through going through things that are really hard, where your faith is tested, where you're like crying, or you're sad, or you're like, my life's falling apart, or what am I doing, or I'm a failure, or etc. All of those big ego themes that are not true, but they force us into places where we're more humble, and we have to take a step back and reevaluate, right? And what am I learning? What am I doing? What am I doing here? So it feels like for you guys, with Jupiter in the 12th this year, one of two ways you can go. You can either go on the path where you've chosen, maybe last year, you had an opportunity, perhaps it had something to do with the internet, let's say, or maybe it's something that had to do with like an opportunity to serve in some way where you're volunteering, or you're trying something with friends that you've never tried before, something sort of Aquarian, 11th housey, something that it has to do with your future, freeing you up in some way, automating things, maybe with your business or that kind of thing. But then with Jupiter in the 12th, you may be questioning that decision. And if you made a decision you just sort of fell into it, somebody came along and said, hey, I'm going to help you with this, and this with your business. And they like took over, and then maybe you were feeling like, oh, I don't know if I want that. And it could be actually even more personal than that. It could be your beliefs, like about existence, God, religion, spirituality, why are we here, existential crisis stuff, you know. And having Jupiter in the 12th, we can sometimes feel like, I'm not sure. You know, I'm used to really feeling pretty sure about who I am, where I'm going, what I believe, and right now I don't really know. I just feel I don't know. So a healthy Capricorn that is wanting to, you know, grow and evolve would be open to meditation, would be open to the humbling effect, or the sense of, I'm in the middle of the ocean with a GPS that doesn't work and I don't know how. I ain't got my sextant. What am I going to do? So maybe the only thing you can do, other than maybe you have a homing pigeon, maybe that would work. No. Prayer, right? Like prayer, meditation, getting quiet, calming down the part of us that can be loud and emotional and irrational, getting into that place inside of yourself. It's like, it almost feels like, you know, the story, you know, Jesus, and this is not religion per se, I'm just using this as an example, but like Jesus on the cross when he says, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? You know, this kind of idea that the divine Father, the Heavenly Father has left him in this moment. And I'm not going to pontificate on what that really means, but it can feel like 12th house is the house that has to do with the Savior, the martyr, feeling like we are separated in a sense almost, especially with Jupiter there. Is God there? Are you listening? Are you helping me? I am really worried, or I'm scared, or I feel helpless. I feel sad. You know, Jupiter on the 12th we can feel a losing of our religion. You know, it is in Sagittarius. So there's that possibility, but with that can come a really beautiful, what if when you get real quiet out in the ocean and you're saying your prayers and you have a voice in you that says, okay, you know what to do. You know what to do. What's needed right now is for you to be the Capricorn. Stand in your Capricorn-ness, right? Like, you know what's right, you know, in your life. You know how to be solid and steady for people who might need you. To me, it feels like if you're a Capricorn who's experienced a lot of Uranian stuff where you've been kind of wild and crazy, maybe even irresponsible in your life, or just risk-taking, then that stuff's going to be showing up for you right now. So deal with it. Learn from it, you know. I just think it's a time of deepening of our humility. And even as an astrologer right now, trying to explain to you what it is that I'm, like, Capricorn's the one sign I've been really quiet on this year because Jupiter's in the 12th for you guys. You know, it makes perfect sense. Like, there's a quality to this chart of you guys need to go inward for truth and to listen to your inner guidance system. As Uranus moves into Taurus too, and Chiron's going to move into Aries. You know, Chiron will be squaring your sun, and in Aries it's going to be in that 4th house. So Chiron's going to show you where you personally have bruises or wounds that have to do with vulnerability, feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to show up for this person in a way that's really open-hearted and vulnerable, and where I'm, you know, really exposed, all my warts and stuff, and opening myself to even losing that person perhaps. And it's scary, but it's also, you have the potential to experience love in a way you've never experienced it before, and to experience being validated and seen with Uranus, training your sun, learning about Capricorn from this place that's going to be new. Like, oh, the things about me that I always, like my fears or my, if you're really responsible or conscientious type of a person, like those are highly valued in times when there's chaos, right? Like the guy who was careful and saved his money, or the guy who worked really hard at his job every night, or what have you, or a scientist, let's say, and he like solved some puzzle because he applied his life to it. He had a purpose. He was focused on it, and he cures cancer. Like, kind of important. Capricorn is we need Capricorn in this country. We're a Cancer country. We need it. That's why a lot of our actors are Capricorns, I think. Reflects this need for solid masculine structure, order, discipline, the coming at things from a place of this discipline. Like, this might not be fun, but it needs to get done. And that's Capricorn. And I'm gonna, the buck stops here. I'm responsible for things if they survive, or if they're successful, or if they fail, right? It's me, on me. That's Capricorn, and it's what you guys can teach us. So I think that having Uranus trine your guys' sun, you'll have opportunities to feel like the Uranian cracking open of the ego that you've experienced in your lives through other people's individuation process and your own. You know, things falling apart on you in your life, structures that should have been intact falling apart, and you having to figure things out for yourself. What do I believe? I feel like you guys are going to have, especially Jupiter will move into your first this next year, and you guys are going to be specially poised to help us rebuild. And to help us rebuild the archetype of Capricorn, the divine masculine, right? I really do think of Capricorn as, in Saturn, as representing the earthly father. And I think of sort of the sun almost, you know, kind of this Apollo, sort of, I don't know, Leo archetype that all of us together, I think of that as like the divine, the father. I think we're all together, the divine. And the earthly side being this archetype. We need laws, we need structure, or we have chaos and anarchy. So far we haven't figured out a way to make that work, right? It's just a more balanced form of Capricorn. So starting first with yourself, with your own fears about your inadequacies, about where you failed in the past, where you've been less than your strongest, and opening up to your feminine, opening up to the side of you that realizes it's okay to be vulnerable, but also it's okay to be Capricorn. It's okay to not be, it's okay to be someone that's like strong, like you don't cry easily or whatever. It depends on the rest of your chart. If you have a moon in Cancer, it's a different story, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we need you as you are. That is the number one lesson of this Sagittarius Jupiter and this Neptune is in Pisces, right? Like, truly being who it is you are and not needing to feel like you have to be something different, or that society says somebody else has the thing that you need and you're not already just as you should be, which Uranus and Pluto maybe have been saying to you these past few years. When really, we need people who are who have standards, who are conscientious, who are hardworking and ambitious and have a goal and are focused on it. And they are the ones who like get us there, you know? So, okay. Overall, I think for you guys, I'd say when we think about sort of Chiron will be squaring the sun for you guys. You know, it's going to square Capricorn. So that is going to bring a little bit more, especially for maybe male, Capricorns, themes that have to do with your manhood, your ability to be the strong one, and times maybe with those that you love, maybe with if you're heterosexual, or if you're younger and your mother, maybe your mom's getting older, you know, and there's some wounding in that area, or if you just have like, you know, childhood stuff about being lovable, having to be the strong, good little soldier, and having to experience times when you can't fix everything, and it's okay. It's okay. Like, you just show up and do your best. It's all that any of us can do, right? For Capricorn females, I feel like you guys too are going to be experiencing, you have that unique challenge of balancing the masculine, it's an ambitious sign. And in this modern or contemporary culture, you know, Capricorn is structured and ordered, and it's about career, and it's about sort of reputation and building something that you're proud of. It's very ambitious and goal-oriented. And so sometimes the softer side of Cancer, or the more feminine side, you know, can be overlooked. But really, all of the dyads share, they're mirrors of each other. Capricorn works that hard because of how much, you know, there's a desire to be safe and secure, and to keep those we love safe and secure, to make sure they have a future. Because Capricorn's like, you know, looking to the past and wanting to preserve a legacy for the future. And so you guys, you females, are the ones that sacrifice your young years for your children, or you're the ones who have worked really hard at your career and you've sacrificed, maybe you didn't have children because you focused on career, or whatever it was that you felt you valued. But then having to deal with, maybe I had kids but I worked really hard and I was gone a lot and I have this stuff I have to work through. Maybe I was home and I didn't work and I want to work now and I feel like I have that stuff to work. You know, it's like we've been sold this belief that you're supposed to be able to have it all. But maybe, yeah, you can have it all, but you're going to have it all. You're going to have all of the And you're going to have all the emotional processing to do. The guilt, the shame, that I should have done that, I should have done that, blah, 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 right? You got to work through all of it. Okay. So that's all stuff you guys are processing right now. At the end of the day, I think that, as I said, authenticity with who it is, an earthy cardinal sign is meant to be. You guys are the creators of the ideas that are going to be created and actually put forth in the physical world of form. You know, like, let's build the building. Okay, we need someone who's going to be in charge of making it happen. That's you guys, so, or the family, or the business. So, okay, all right, Capricorns, hang in there. I do think that Uranus and Taurus will be nice for you guys. I think it'll be a little breath of fresh air, I'm hoping. So, okay, take care.